Welcome back. It is 1493. Last year we had Tobias. Gabriel aged into a toddler, and we got a proposal from Robert for Grace. Bendix did try to intervene mano a mano, but it did not go well for him. So let's see this year. We have Alexander Goth is going to marry Constance because, oh yeah, Peregrine died last year in childbirth. Super sad. So we're going to remarry him. And then Quail asked if she could be with Norbert. And I'm like, you know what? If that's what you want. So let's roll. We have a few rolls here. The reason that Liberty is not having any more kids is because she's now in her end of life stage. So anyway, let's roll for Hector Landgrab and Tobias Larkin. That's our Tobias. And they can't get an 18 or a 20. Okay, Hector, Tobias. Okay, we're good, we're good. And then for Liberty and Randolph, it's kind of weird that she's the same age as his dad, but whatever. We need to roll a d8 for them. So let's get a d8. Liberty will live 5 more years, and Randolph will live 8 more years. Good for you, Randolph. You are just lasting very long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Liberty. Oops, that's not how you spell Liberty. Yeah, it's Landgrab now, right? Yeah. And then 6, 7, 8. Wait, 6, 7, 8, 8. Randolph. Oh, and these are their deaths. So, died. Liberty. Died. Okay. Sounds good. I am not going to add a new family in this year because um, we have a lot going on right now with a lot of different storylines. So I'll add in a new family when things calm down a little bit, but not this year. So let's hop into the game because Grace's story is not over yet. Alrighty, so we are first going to age of the baby, of course. So Tobias is now an infant and he is a cutie pie, of course. All of my children are. Um, Again, with the dark hair, a little bit lighter skin than some of his siblings. And there he goes. So he is all set. Let's get his picture on here and be all set. I do just want to say I'm going to do my very best to get videos out this week. I am not the brightest bulb on the tree. I forgot. This happens every month, but I always forget that it's coming up with work. So it's my busy week. And so because of that, I am really kind of scrambling to get these videos all set for you. So if you do not see a video in the next week or so, that is why. Like I said, I'm going to do my best to get them out, but we'll see. I'm kind of running a little bit low on time here, so we'll see where we go from there. But anyway, that is why I am recording right now. So I'm going to just put in a holiday because I'm sick and tired of my teenagers not coming to my events during the day because they haven't dropped out of school like my Sims have. So there is that. And then again, we're working on the toddler skills. So we have both Lucius and Cassandra have gotten max skills. So now not Tobias, Gabriel is working on getting his skills up. He is max in movement, but that is it. Although we're doing really well in communication already. It's actually really easy to get toddler skills up, but that's besides the point. So we are just going to try and get his skills up, and then we'll next year have Tobias aging up and being able to start working on that. And I know we can't have a baby this year. We already have a full household, so that is kind of a bummer. But um, Grace is going to get married next year. She's aging up into a young adult next year, and then she's going to get married. So that is good because that means we'll start freeing up household slots so that we can have more kids. That is the goal there. So in the meantime, we have Pedro. He is going to go out on a little date with Lilith. So Lilith is the only sim he had a good first impression with, and then she also had a good first impression of him. So they are going to chat with each other. They are going to hang out, and we'll see if something sparks. So I just wanted to check on her traits too. So she is actually high maintenance, which is an interesting one, but I feel like that kind of makes sense for like, a wealthy lady to be kind of high maintenance because, it's not like she's ever had to cook or clean or anything. She wants things taken care of for her. And look, he's embarrassed. Why are you embarrassed, Pedro? I think that maybe he's embarrassed because like she's a fresh young adult. She is a young woman. He is aging up into like an elder this year, and I totally didn't even realize he has his like 8-year end of life. Also, the Peacock family just had a daughter, which was what I wanted because, maybe we could have one of them marry one of our sons. But um yeah, so I forgot he's at his end of life, 8 years left until he dies. And so, he's much older than this woman, and so he's like, gosh, he's got to be like almost 30 years older than her, right? Because there's adult part one and adult part two. Anyway, so because of that, he I'm sure that there's some kind of not insecurity, but like worry that he is trying to, woo someone and she's not gonna go for him because she probably has better options. So I think that does kind of weigh on him a little bit, that he is concerned about it and that he is wanting to make sure that um, he can also find his own happiness because he lost a lot during this wedding sickness. He really, really did. And so because of that, um, he is just trying, both of his daughters are leaving the nest. Like he has to kind of get his own thing going and he doesn't want to be lonely. So he is looking for someone to spend that time with. Grace is also just about at the top of the truly accomplished aspiration. She just has to finish reading like one more book. So we're in good shape there. And then as a reward for her getting um, that that aspiration to max there. For some reason, she was reading this book but wasn't reading this book. Some of the books are like kind of glitchy and it doesn't really work out as well as I would have hoped, but that's okay. So she's going to read this book and then finish the aspiration. We're going to work on the toddler skills. And then, yeah, as a little reward for finishing that, we'll have like a family dinner. So I think that that'll be nice that they can spend some time together, especially with Grace getting married next year. We want to spend a lot of time together. So she's just going to finish reading this book. And you can do it. You can do it, Grace. You are exceptional. And so we're going to say that this is like her way of training to become a countess, right? She probably didn't expect to get a title like that, but she is lucky enough to be marrying the future Earl. And so because of that, she is, um, having to study and learn and be prepared for that kind of responsibility. So yes, we're going to have a little celebration, a little family time, celebrating time, and have everyone just kind of come and eat and spend some time together before next year comes along. So let's get everyone a meal. And of course, Pedro's standing right there, but Mortimer, the glutton, just runs over, grabs a plate, and starts wolfing down his food, finishes an entire plate before anyone else even gets to the table. So that is pretty funny. So I'm going to have him get another plate because I want everyone to sit down at the table together. Also, he's getting sick, my poor boy. But Mortimer is definitely the type to push through any sickness. I'm actually starting to get a little bit of a runny nose myself, but you just got to push through. So there everyone is. Of course, when they start talking, they get up from the table. It's so annoying. So yeah, they're just all having a good time, chatting with each other, spending time together as a family. They're very excited for Grace's upcoming wedding next year. And they are just all having a really good time. So um, Mortimer is going to go back to work, I guess. And then I think Grace, yeah, gets up from the table as well. So it's just Diana and Pedro. And I feel like Pedro probably would tell Diana, about Lilith, about how he's courting her, and about, I don't know if he would confide in her any of his worries, but he would definitely confide in her about, like, how their relationship is progressing. And actually, is she younger than Diana? That's kind of gross. Um, but anyway, so Diana is definitely supportive of her father finding happiness and finding someone after her mother died. Like what they went through, that family was decimated by the sweating sickness. Like, I mean, Mortimer's family was decimated, but like her family, she lost so much of her family. Like half of their family was lost, and so um, they've just been really, really close, closer than they were before the sickness because. Um, because they're all they have left now. And so after losing people, that made them kind of realize that they, wanted to be closer with each other and everything. So they're going to spend as much time together as they can. And of course, Pedro is welcome to live next door for the rest of his life, or live like on our lot. Once we'll marry Grace, we'll move her out. We'll have Pedro get married. We'll move him into a residential rental unit on our lot that we had already built there. So because of that, we are going to um, then have 2 open slots in our household for our 2 last babies. Hopefully, I mean, we've been so lucky with the children situation. Like, hopefully, we continue to be lucky there. I mean, Mortimer and Diana really deserve to be lucky in this regard because they have been through so much and they really, really deserve to have some good things happen to them. So, I hope that they have lots of children. Well, by lots, I mean 6 because I'm not going over the household size of 8, but I just hope that everything works out for them. Anyway, so we are here at um, the ball. This is like the only community lot I ported over to the new safe. I really have to put some more down, but this is the only community lot I put here. So this is just where we keep coming back to. I mean, there's a lot to do on this lot. Like I have stuff upstairs and there's stuff in the back and whatever, but Diana and Mortimer are dancing outside. Anyway, so we're going to have Pedro chatting with Lilith. And we're going to come inside and have them all sit together and everything. Um, and actually, it looks like the Earl is having a conversation with them as well. So the Earl is going to have that conversation with them, and then um, they're all going to chat together. The Earl is happily married. His family survived the sweating sickness by me forgetting about them. So, so he was pretty lucky. And yeah, so he is still happily married. But I think that Pedro kind of sees that maybe Lilith maybe has a wandering eye of sorts, where she is just kind of like, well, can this guy who's supported by his son-in-law even, help me live the life to which I am accustomed? And so I think that, her being high maintenance might be a little bit of a problem for him because he does want things to work out with her, but he's just not sure that they will, especially with all those handsome men standing around there. And then meanwhile, we have Mortimer chatting with the king, and I think that Mortimer has realized, and I hope you have realized, the Goths are not in attendance here. Now, we know that Alexander lost his wife recently, but he is going to get remarried this year and, um, come back into society. Look at her, she's gorgeous. But anyway, so Mortimer realizes that the Goths are not there, and he is just chatting with the king, and the king is talking about the pretender to the throne, that guy. And so the king and him are talking about it, and the king is very incensed about the whole thing. He is not happy because of everything he went through, like to get the throne, to deal with all of that stuff. There was like a whole war over it, and now this other guy is just coming in saying that he's the rightful king. I don't think so. So the king is really incensed about it, and he had obviously heard Alexander gossiping about it and saying that maybe the pretender has a point. And so I think that the king is not happy that the Goths are kind of on the Pretender's side, as we know we ruled for them to be on the side of the Pretender. So because of all of that, the king is not very happy with the Goths right now, so they're kind of being iced out of the parties and stuff. So that is not good for them, especially Constance, who's about to marry into that household. But Alexander needs to learn to watch his tongue, I guess. But anyway, so Bendix, who did not show up when I asked him to, but I'm bringing here now, is here, and as everyone kind of trickles out of the party, he actually stops Grace, and he's like, Grace, can we talk? Like, can I talk to you for a second? And she's like, sure, because they're really good friends and they have amazing compatibility, and they're just, of course Mortimer is like hovering because he's like, wait what do you want? but he doesn't want to interfere in the conversation. He just wants to make sure that nothing untoward is happening. So anyway, they're chatting, and then Bendix kind of confesses his love to Grace, and he says to her, like, you know, I love you. I know that we were courting, and I know you chose Robert, but like, you know, you don't have to be with him. Like, I know that you're probably under a lot of pressure to choose him, but I want you to choose me, and I promise I'll make you happy, and all this stuff, and like this huge declaration. And Grace is just so annoyed, not because she didn't want to hear it, but because she would have wanted to hear it sooner. Like, she had already made her choice. Her wedding is coming up. She doesn't have time for you to be saying this at the 11th hour, you know? Like, she's just really frustrated with him over this. And she basically tells him, like, forget it, like, just forget it, like, Bendix, we can just be friends, like, it's not going to happen, it probably would never have happened, like, we can just be really good friends, like, can't you just accept my friendship? And he does not want her friendship, he wants to be in a relationship with her, and she's like, you lost your chance, you lost your opportunity, it's too late now. And I think she feels really bad, because she really thought that maybe they could have been something, but he can't, like, come after everything has already happened and then come and say all these things. And so she was very frustrated with him, and Mortimer ended up having to intervene because they were like yelling at each other, and he was like, okay, that's enough. So, excuse me. So he was like, forget it. And so they kind of part ways here, and we come back home. And we are going to then, I do want Pedro to come over here. Now, Pedro wouldn't confide in his daughter about some of his insecurities, but he would confide in Mortimer, like, as man of the house or whatever. And so he's going to talk to Mortimer and kind of say, you know, I'm worried that Lilith, you know, she doesn't think I have enough. Like, she doesn't think I have a reliable source of income to help her. Also, risky. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's wager her estate. But yeah, so it worked though. We just made twice the money back. But anyway, so Pedro is worried about all of that, and he is like, you know, I know that you have a lot of businesses and stuff. Like, can you help me set something up? So Mortimer sets up an estate for Pedro. And so I'm just going to dump the money that we just won into an estate for Pedro. And so Pedro now has his own source of income that is quite a lot. It's 300,000 simoleons of estate, which makes a good amount of money. So he is very happy about that. Lilith showed up. I didn't even ask her to show up. And she showed up. And so Pedro is going to talk to her and be like, you know, I mean, she came over at 1 a.m. What is she thinking? But anyway, they're going to have a conversation where he's just going to talk to her and be like, you know, I know that you have concerns about our courtship, and I want you to know that I can definitely support you, and you don't have to worry about a thing, and I will make sure that you are taken well care of, and you don't want for anything. I'll make sure that you're happy, and I don't want you to walk away from, you know, something good because you're worried about the future. Like, I will definitely take care of you. I'll give you everything. Like, don't worry about it. And so Lilith is happy to hear that. She is happy that he has taken on her concerns and has been proactive about mitigating them. So they're going to get flirty, and she seems to be a little bored with the conversation. She was yawning, but yeah, she does get like a little bored moodlet. And I wonder, like, I don't know, like, they're flirting and they're having a good time, but she gets bored. So I wonder, like, it makes me wonder, is she bored because she's not into it? Like, is she just after the comfort and the money? And, you know, maybe that would be okay, because I don't think Pedro ever expected to find a new, like, love of his life, but I think he does just want someone to spend his days with, and I don't think that, you know, it can be mutually beneficial for the both of them. Like, they could be in love, they can love each other, but not be, like, madly in love, right? So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, so she's flirty now. She's feeling good now, and I am going to let them have a first kiss. I know that they shouldn't, but I'm going to let them. So, I mean, Pedro's like an old man now, so there is that. But yeah, so everyone is doing really well, and Pedro is doing fine. Grace is just kind of like, oh, okay, all right. But yeah, so I do want to get Grace and Robert, their romance up a bit. Why are you in like a Scout's uniform, my guy? I do want to get their romance up a little bit because I think that that's important for their romance to improve so that they can get married next year. I'll leave Pedro and Lilith alone in the other room. So anyway, we are going to start chatting with him, start getting flirty with him. I don't know why. It's like, even when I reset her, it says she's talking to the baby. So I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, don't go. No, Robert, come back. Here we go. Okay, so she's going to be chatting with Robert. They're just kind of like stealing a few moments, you know, under the cover of night outside, like even though it's 10 a.m., but it's dark out. So anyway, so they are just going to spend some little quality time together, unchaperoned, but they're like out in public, so I guess it's not that big a deal. There's like people around, but we're going to have them flirt and ignore the people that are dressed incorrectly for the time period. So there's that. And then, yeah, so they're going to flirt with each other, and I'm going to let them hold hands and all of that stuff. So they are just really enjoying, and I'm just going to let that build up while we continue to work on the baby skills. We now have communication and thinking done for Gabriel. So Gabriel is doing pretty well, and we're just getting these two up. And then Grace was gonna queue up to kiss him, but then I think he just kind of like walked away. So they almost kissed, but it almost happened, but it didn't happen. I don't think. No, but I have to wait for time to catch up with itself because Dana's supposed to be at work right now. Anyway, so there's that. The two of them getting very romantic, ready for their wedding. Very exciting. I am very excited for them. And then, yeah, he just leaves. But that's okay. So, then we are going to, again, go back to the children, just doing their thing. And yeah, so that's about where we're going to wrap up. I do need Mortimer to get to the next level of writing skill for his job, because he's like ready to get promoted, but he doesn't have enough writing skill because I forgot to get that up for him because we were busy doing stuff. So I didn't really worry about that. But after we do that, and we're going to continue to work on this. Okay, so imagination skill is almost full here, and then we just have potty skill left for Gabriel. So that'll be just in time for Tobias to age up into a toddler. So there's that. And yeah, so then we have a lot going on in the world. I might just cut that out because I don't know how much you really care about that. I don't know if you like the maintenance stuff, but you know, we have our Tobias, who's aged up into an infant. Hector Landgrab has also become an infant. He was the youngest Landgrab. Alexander Goth, again, is marrying Constance Lorenz, and Quail Lewis is marrying Norbert. So they're getting married, and Pedro and Lilith are starting to get closer. Grace's wedding is coming up. Sybil Peacock is now an infant. I do give Pedro some gray hair to commemorate his oldness. And Ives Peacock becomes a child and can finally join our club. Nigel Beza is a toddler. Prince Henry is now a toddler, and Princess Elizabeth is an infant. So that's in the royal family, although from what I understand, Princess Elizabeth does not live for very long, which is unfortunate and sad, but true. So we're just going to have to accept that. And yeah, so that's where we're at. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this part. I am having a lot of fun with it, and I am excited to keep going and finding out everything that's going on. We're still not quite done with Grace's story. Even when Grace's move out, her story is going to continue. And part of that is this right here. So what is going on here? Let me tell you what is going on here. So Bendix is obviously very upset because of the whole thing, that Grace has now rejected him, even though he wants to be with her. He doesn't really, he's not really thinking about the fact that it'd be very awkward for Grace to break off her engagement now. But Bendix is definitely concerned about that whole thing, so he is not happy. He thinks Robert has stolen his love of his life, and he really wants to make sure that they can't live happily ever after together. So, sorry, Grace, but your story has only just begun. So Bendix is going to make a curse. He's going to craft a curse on Robert. So he doesn't want to curse Grace because he does feel like she's still someone that he loves and has kind of put on a pedestal. But they were just so close, and he more has this hatred towards Robert. Even his mom comes in and is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Mom, I just need to get some revenge. Do you mind?" She's like, "Okay." She leaves. But anyway, so he has cursed Robert, and he has cursed Robert with infertility. So, despite that Grace is going to become a countess, she will not be able to have any children with Robert to pass on that title to, so it would go to William after that. So that is what's going on here. We are cursing Robert. He will never be able to have a child, and he will not be able to carry on his family name. So that is what has happened in the Peacock family, and Bendix is not done with that family yet. He's not done with the Docras. He is not done with his curse, and he is going to do much more, and much more is going to happen. So I hope that you're excited, and I will catch you in the next one.